My name is Robert Williams, and I serve as the Executive Director of the New York State Gaming Commission. I'm joined here by Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel President and Chief Operating Officer, Henry Wotazik, Patricia Lincourt, an Associate Commissioner for Addiction Treatment and Recovery Services at the Office of Addiction Services and Supports, or OASAS, Jim Maney, the Executive Director of the New York State Council on Problem Gaming, and Angela DeRosa, the Program Manager at the Western Problem Gaming Resource Center. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates that 1%, or roughly 2 million adults in the United States, meet the criteria for gambling addiction in any given year, while as many as 3%, or upwards of 6 million people, are considered to have mild or moderate gaming problems. Research, however, also indicates that most adults who choose to gamble can do so responsibly. For these people, gambling remains just a game. It's our job as gaming regulators, administrators, operators, public health administrators, and advocacy groups to join with the National Council to shine a light on the very real problem and issue of problem gambling and the millions of individuals nationwide who continue to gamble for reasons other than entertainment. Problem Gambling Awareness Month is designed not only to increase public awareness of problem gambling, but also to promote availability of prevention, treatment, and recovery services for those in need. With that as a background, the purpose of today's event is to bring attention to the public health organizations, advocacy groups, and gaming licensees who incorporate problem gambling prevention and responsible gaming practices into their everyday operations. Today's event is entitled, "What is Responsible Gaming?" The answer to that question is dependent upon where you sit. For the player, it might mean not using gambling as a source of income, gambling only with money that you can afford to lose, or setting time and money limits for gambling. For the operator, it may mean prevention with the goal of stopping problem gambling behaviors from developing. For the treatment provider, it might mean ensuring that there are resources and treatment options for those who seek assistance. For the Commission and the New York State Lottery that we operate, it means developing and implementing a comprehensive statewide approach to responsible gaming. While National Problem Gambling Awareness Month is in March, we all believe that problem gambling awareness should be considered each month. Under the leadership of Governor Kathy Hochul, the Commission and the New York State Lottery have strived to be responsible in both our approach to gambling regulation and as a gambling provider. Our approach has three important components: providing education and increasing consumer awareness, being responsible in our provision of gambling opportunities, and providing support services and resources. Year-round, we strive to integrate these components into our daily practices. For 2022, the Commission has rolled out a 12-month strategic plan focusing on defining the elements of responsible play, responsible gifting of lottery tickets, and responsible sales. The plan also includes the traditional holiday-themed Gift Responsibly messaging, which has showcased the importance of setting time limits and spend limits when gambling, and leaving people with a simple message that responsible play is always a bright idea. A second advocacy campaign takes the familiar Gift Responsibly theme and turns it into a 12-month reminder that lottery tickets are not appropriate for children at any time of the year, no matter what the occasion. This new campaign will air statewide in June to reinforce the Gift Responsibly message during graduation season. Additionally, the Commission will be active year-round. Starting last month and running through the end of this month, lottery marketing will focus on rebranding in action, pushing to retailers talking points and incentives that they need to undertake an active role in helping their customers make informed decisions about gifting lottery tickets year-round. In July and August, the Commission will increase the visibility of the responsible gaming message at premier events, including the State Fair and various county fairs. And in September through October, the Commission will refocus efforts to promote age verification with a new 18+ campaign in conjunction with new lottery agent training and statewide public service announcement campaigns. One last item that I want to mention before we proceed to today's event is to acknowledge the embrace of a technological development. It's not new or novel or particularly high tech, but it has a real chance to make a difference. Specifically, New York's Addictions Referral Hopeline is a great service for those in need, but there has been some concern about the speed in connecting people to services. To help address this, we have introduced a quick response code, or QR code, that will connect individuals in crisis with the help they need at the moment of need. This code is embedded in print advertising and placed on all help materials. The QR code is a direct result of the ongoing collaboration between OASAS, the New York Council on Problem Gambling, and the Commission, which we collectively call the Responsible Play Partnership. The QR code affords quick access to specially trained clinicians faster than ever before. In fact, this July, a QR code will begin to appear on all newly printed Lottery Instant Game tickets. It's my understanding that the New York Lottery will be the first in the world to employ such a feature on its scratch-off tickets. That brings us to today's purpose, which is to unveil a new poster that's designed to raise awareness of the state's voluntary self-exclusion program. Voluntary self-exclusion is a self-directed intervention program allowing gamblers to voluntarily be denied access to gambling venues or activities for an agreed upon period of time. The VSE programs are an ideal circumstance to engage individuals who are reluctant or who have not yet sought formal treatment. But to engage individuals requires making certain that they are aware of the program. This poster is to be used to help raise awareness of voluntary self-exclusion and will be available for Batavia digitally so they can incorporate its use in any manner that they see appropriate. At this time, I'd like Henry to help me unveil it. Henry, would you join me?
Good luck, Henry.
Batavia has been a great partner in raising awareness of problem gambling and ensuring patrons know that they can access services. The team here has shown a long history of commitment to ensuring that the patrons who may not be able to gamble safely have access to the resources they need to get help. So at this time, I'd like Henry to discuss the commitment evidenced here at Batavia in raising problem gambling awareness.
Thank you very much, Rob. We really appreciate you being here today, and that's what I'd like to do. First of all, is just to thank the Executive Director of the Gaming Commission, Rob Williams, and Brad Mayon, and also Patricia Lincourt, James Maney, and Angela DeRosa for joining us here today on such an important topic. Problem gaming is an issue, obviously, in our state and across the rest of the country. And it's an issue to be taken extremely seriously, and we take it very seriously at Batavia Downs, and we appreciate the support of the Gaming Commission and other agencies to help us do that. Here at Batavia Downs, we like to think, and we talk about this inside here and outside the doors of this facility as being the cheers of gaming facilities, where our staff, we know our players by name, and we interact with them in a way that we like to think we're having fun and we're entertaining them here, but we have to pay attention to the danger signs that happen, and to our staff's credit, they do that, and they often bring up information to me where we try to interact with our guests and customers and try to help them in that regard. We're trained to see indicators for patrons that may have a problem gaming issue. Staff takes their concerns to our managers on duty to see we need to look further into the situation and to explain the actual options that they have to them. And there are many options available, and that's why we're really happy that we're shining a light on it here today. If you walk around the gaming floor, you'll see the decals on every device. They promote New York's Hope Line and the referral network that comes with it. Our security and floor staff have information on any of those topics that if our patrons want to find that out, if they need more statewide information, we'll give that to them as well, including the self-exclusion program that Rob just referred to. Each one of our promotional mailings that we send out reminds people to play responsibly. That's the phrase that Rob is using, that the industry uses wisely. If you look at all of our entrances and exits, you'll see the signs we have posted there advertising, you need to be 18, you need to play responsibly. Obviously, we work very diligently to prohibit under 18 from coming into the facility. The Gaming Commission's on-site team, they audit, they check what we do here, make sure that our signage and everything else is up to date. We appreciate their guidance. The new QR code will be featured prominently throughout the facility and on our internal TV system to make sure our guests are aware of the growing number of problems that could occur and that services are available to them and how best to access that help. So we appreciate everybody again coming out here today. We think this obviously helps make the facility better, helps our guests, and we will continue to work hand in hand with the State Gaming Commission and others to make sure that we encourage responsible gaming. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Henry. Over the years, the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports has worked with the Commission and the New York Council on Problem Gambling as the Responsible Play Partnership to develop strategies to assist problem gamblers in New York. OASAS has focused on initiatives centering on creating a prevention, treatment, and recovery continuum of care to meet problem gamblers where they are and to localize services for those in need. Today I'm pleased that we have with us OASAS Associate Commissioner Patricia Lindcourt. Ms. Lindcourt?
Thank you. I'll have to bring this considerably down, I think. It's great to be here. Good morning, and thanks for coming. I am here representing Commissioner Cunningham from OASAS. She has a terrific commitment to the continued work together with the Commission and with the Council and with the PCRGs. So I'd like to thank Robert Williams from the Gaming Commission and Ed Domingo from the Empire City Casino for helping to organize this event. I also want to acknowledge Jim Maney and the Council for Problem Gambling and also Angela from the PCRG. OASAS is part of the Responsible Play Partnership along with the Gaming Commission and the New York Council, and we work closely with the casinos in New York State to coordinate services. This partnership is more important than ever as we see expansion of gaming in New York. Problem gambling is sometimes referred to as a silent addiction because it doesn't have the visible signs that others do. It can cause disruptions in the lives of people who are impacted. It can impact physical and mental health. Individuals diagnosed with gambling disorder have higher rates over a lifetime of substance use disorder as well as mental health disorders. And there's a negative impact on family relationships when gaming becomes more than a game. And there can be difficulties in carrying out daily responsibilities. So it's vitally important that when somebody does recognize that they have a problem, or if they're a family member that recognizes a problem in a family member, that there's help available when it's needed and immediately. So the recent addition of the QR code is a really innovative way of providing that discreetly so that somebody can access and find information about problem gambling as well as the voluntary self-exclusion, which in working with people who've had problems with gambling can be really important to their being able to get to recover over time. So the OASAS system is well equipped to handle the ongoing demand for gambling services. We currently have 31 OASAS certified outpatient programs that specialize in problem gambling. We also have 12 state-operated inpatient programs where people in need of inpatient care for gambling disorder can be treated. Treatment is also available through a network of private practitioners that are connected to each other through OASAS and through the Council, and they receive specialized training. They're approved to receive referrals through the Problem Gambling Resource Centers because we are aware of their specialization in problem gambling and their unique ability and skills to work with families and individuals who have a gambling disorder. Some providers have also established peer services for gambling, and we're pursuing working with peers to grow that workforce. It allows people to share their own life experience and to provide support from somebody who's actually walked in the shoes. It's an effective way to reach people who may be intimidated to come to a clinical setting but want to talk with someone about what they're experiencing. The 31 OASAS recovery centers across the state, many of which provide specific support service for individuals with gambling disorders and their families, are also open for that more informal kind of service delivery. New York State Hope Line operates 24 hours, 7 days a week. I know that Robert mentioned that. And they field calls every day from people who are seeking services. They're well connected with the problem gambling resource centers across the state. And we're also working on a number of other enhancements to the problem gambling services to help connect people to the care they might need. We're increasing awareness of problem gambling. We recently had a Stick to the Game Plan campaign during the February and March, designated to highlight responsible gambling tips about setting limits on the amount of time and money spent gambling, limiting use of alcohol or other substances while gambling, reminding the public that gambling is not for those who are under 21, and publicizing the availability of help in case someone is in need of that help. We're also identifying effective evidence-based prevention in schools and instituting a screening and brief intervention process specific to gambling, providing an opportunity for people to identify a disorder even if they themselves aren't as aware that they may be on the edge of developing a disorder. So OASAS is committed to our continued work together and committed to helping any New Yorker who has a problem. I hand back to Robert. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Pat. The New York Council on Problem Gambling is passionate about connecting problem gamblers in crisis with trained clinicians who can provide them with on-the-spot help and treatment options. I'm pleased to introduce Council Executive Director Jim Maney to discuss the role of the Council and to highlight the network of problem gambling resource centers that they manage. Jim?
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing up there? Happy Cinco de Mayo Day for everybody that's celebrating tonight. I think that's a wonderful thing. So I played college basketball at Lemoyne College in Syracuse, and every year we got slaughtered by Syracuse. And after one game, a young kid came up to me and wanted my autograph. Now, I scored 2 points, but I'm like, okay, some kid wants my autograph, and so I signed my name, which is Jim Maney, and the poor kid was so disappointed. So I wasn't who he thought he was. He thought I was Hal Cohen from Syracuse. And today that haunts me. So hopefully after this, you guys won't be as disappointed that I'm Jim Maney and not somebody else. Anyway, I just want to thank Henry, your promotional staff, Brad. We have more people here to listen to this today than we have at all the other places. And that is so important to raise the awareness of problem gambling in the state of New York. And why is it so important? Because we talk about wanting to advocate and care about our fellow people. They know when we care about them. And when you say this is you didn't say these words, a mom and pop organization, it really is. You guys do know your customers. You know each and every one of them by name. And when they know that you care about them, guess what? They care about themselves a little bit more, especially when we talk about addictions. When people that are in the midst of going from problem to pathological of anything, or from social to problem, one of the key indicators is that they have no support and that they have no care. And so when we walk into a facility like this, people know if you care or not. People know if you care if they're going to have problems or not. And when they know they're not going to be uncared for, guess what? They have less and less problems. So I thank you tremendously for what you do here. And we have to do that. We have to do that constantly. We have two missions at the council. We raise the awareness of problem gambling in the state of New York, and we get services to folks that need it. And as Rob was talking about the technology's advancing every day. You think about how fast we can go in mobile sports betting now 24/7. Everything's quicker and faster. What we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure put in place that no matter when someone needs help in the state of New York, they can get it. And if you think about it, why this is so important, for most of the folks that we see for therapy in the state of New York who need help, they're not mandated to treatment. They didn't get pulled over last night for being drunk. They didn't get caught for possession or selling. No, we don't have those. We do not have societal things to assist us in this addiction. That's why we need each and every one of us. When we write stories today, we have to make sure we talk about where to get help. And every time we talk about problem gambling, I don't care if it's in our lives, out at dinner, at a picnic, if we're talking about gambling, we have to talk about problem gambling because it affects each and every one of us. We really believe that for some it's a harmless behavior. It's not. It's not. It hurts us all. One family devastated by gambling hurts each and every one of us. It decreases the moral fiber in our families and in our communities. And once again, the council, we do not take a stand whatsoever against gambling. It's not our issue. Our only issue is problem gambling. But if I'm going to be able to speak today, which I think is wonderful, we have to talk about that. Because if we know people or families that have been devastated by this addiction, we know it's horrible. And so I ask you this question: are we doing everything we possibly can to make sure that this is not going to happen further? And hopefully the answer is yes. We have 133 trained clinicians throughout the state of New York to assist anybody at any time to get the services they need. Half of the folks in New York call are family members. They know what it's like. Most gamblers aren't going to call because they're only one hit away from winning again. But family members know the devastation. They know what it's like. We have 7 problem gambling resource centers throughout the state of New York, and Angela's going to speak next. And what I want you to know about it, when you call the Problem Gambling Resource Center, Angela answers the call. Nobody else. Not a receptionist, not a voicemail, Angela. And when you get to know Angela, she's the kindest, compassionate person that the other person on the line wants to talk to. And basically she introduces herself and says, "How can I help?" And that's what the New York Council on Problem Gambling does. We ask one thing for anything: how can we help? And if we can ever assist anybody here today, or anybody you know, please give us a call. And once again, thank you, Henry, for organizing this, hosting this, Rob, Brad, Pat for showing up, which is great. Pat and I used to work together years and years and years ago, so it's very nice to see that the Gaming Commission and OASAS are taking such a huge role and responsibility in leading the charge to address problem gambling in the state of New York. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jim. As I said, he would be passionate. Our next speaker is Angela DeRosa, the program manager of the Western Problem Gambling Resource Center. Ms. DeRosa, can you speak to the critical relationship that exists between the Problem Gambling Resource Center and Batavia and the importance of having access to trained problem gambling clinicians and having access to individuals who are local?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Our work at the Problem Gambling Resource Center is so important, and the statistics that we mentioned about the prevalence of folks experiencing a gambling problem is something that I deal with on a much more personal level, because we're getting the calls from the folks who are experiencing these issues and their families and all of the people that they're impacting. The partnership with Batavia Downs is particularly important to me because Batavia is my hometown. Still live here in Genesee County. So when the Western Problem Gambling Resource Center is out connecting with community members, organizations, businesses, and raising that awareness about problem gambling. It means something to us because we live here, we work here, and we raise our families here. The Problem Gambling Resource Centers have two main objectives, as Jim mentioned. The first is to raise awareness about problem gambling and about our services. Utilizing things like the QR code, having accessibility to the voluntary self-exclusion program are two important ways that we're able to do that in our community. A lot of people have a very narrow perception of what someone with a gambling problem looks like, what type of life they live, who they're affecting. But we know that it could happen to virtually anyone. So the people who are going to be scanning that QR code and reaching out to us for help are our family members, they're our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, and we want to make sure that everyone is aware of the risks of gambling, but most importantly, that there's help available. The second primary objective of the PGRC is to get folks connected to help and resources right in their own communities. As Pat mentioned, our certified clinical network are all specially trained to be subject matter experts, not only in the mental health field, in the addiction field, but specifically for problem gambling and gambling disorder. In addition to them just being trained and subject matter experts, they genuinely care about the people that they're seeing. And all of us feel comfortable referring our own loved ones to the clinicians that we work with. We also work with certified peer recovery advocates. We have several therapeutic support groups and make referrals to other organizations like Gamblers Anonymous, Gam-Anon, Smart Recovery, and other local support and recovery groups. It's so important for us to be sharing this work and making sure that people know about the services we provide. If you or anyone you know is wondering about their relationship with gambling and whether it's a healthy one, if they're feeling distress over the harms that are coming about or the harms of the gambling a loved one is doing, scan the QR code, call us, call the New York State Hope Line, and reach out for help. We're available and willing and anxious to make sure that everyone in New York State and in Western New York are getting the help that they need. Thank you.
To conclude, I'd like to take a moment to highlight New York's Hope Line number, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY, as it appears on the voluntary self-exclusion poster alongside the QR code. As a reminder, the Hope Line is a confidential support and referral hotline staffed by trained clinicians 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In addition to addiction and referral support services, Hope Line staff can answer questions and help find problem gambling treatment and self-help in all areas of the state of New York. I want to thank Mr. Wojtozak and Batavia for hosting this event, and thank Commissioner Lincourt, Mr. Maney, and Mr. Rosa for joining us, and thank you all for helping us raise awareness of problem gambling.